This faceless YouTube channel is making up to $41,000 a month just by creating and uploading YouTube Shorts. And the best part is, it's all done by AI. The titles, the descriptions, the hashtags, and the content were all generated using AI. Here's one of their latest videos now. As you can see, it's just relatable and shareable content. And I'm going to show you how to create over 1,000 of these absolutely free. In no time at all, we're going to use 2 AI tools to make this happen and automate everything we're doing. The first tool we're using is ChatGPT. I put a link in the description for you, and I'll see you in a second now to access ChatGPT. You're going to sign up for an account, and when you log in, you're going to see a screen that looks just like this. The only difference is you might not see the plus icon because we do have a paid ChatGPT account, but you will have access to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the exact prompt that I'm going to show you in a second right below this video, along with the secondary prompt. And it's already engineered to give you exactly what we're after here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that prompt in, and let me walk you through what we have here. So basically, we are going to ask it to create 50 sets of facts and sets, being the topic, the part 1, and the part 2. Just like you saw in the example video, I'm giving it a bunch of examples below this, and I'm also asking it to format it in a way that we can copy and paste this into our next tool. So it becomes really easy. And so it's going to give you a table with that breakdown step by step. And I also asked it to adjust with a couple different fact types. So psychology, crush, relationship, boy, girl, so on. And so that way we're going to get a really nice variety. And I also made it very specifically focus on stuff that's very relatable. So that way it's highly shareable, highly engagement driven. This is going to be exactly what we're after. And what you typically see on YouTube that you would otherwise interact with. So we have our prompt that's been engineered quite a few times. He played around with this quite a lot. And then all of our examples, just so it has a sense of what we're after with a bunch of different variations. And so all we're going to do is copy and paste it in, hit send message, and we're going to let it generate. You just want to do a quick check. Is this what you're after? In this case, is exactly what we're after. We have our column 1 of different types of facts, our column 2 of the starting point, and our column 3 of the end, kind of the punchline, as it were. So this is going to generate us 50 facts to start. You can adjust this number. I wouldn't go beyond 50, somewhere between 30 and 50 is the sweet spot to get the best quality out of ChatGPT. If you ask for 100 facts or 200 facts, it may or may not give it to you to begin with, but it may also just give you a lot of garbage because it's trying to fit a lot into one short prompt. Whereas when you ask for a smaller amount, it does focus more on quality within that. So here's the first 50. If we wanted to get to 1,000, we're just going to copy and paste the second prompt in, which is this one right here. Just says, come up with 50 more, using the same specifications. Do not repeat the previous ones. That way, we get all you need. I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me generate 1,000 videos worth of prompts. So we're going to start with just these 50, and then we'll move on. And you can, of course, just follow along if you wanted to generate 1,000 or 2,000 or even 5,000 or 6,000. We generated over 1,000 when we tested this out without any issue following the exact same flow. So I know it can happen. So that said, what we're going to want to do now is copy everything we have here. So let's copy this entire table and copy that. And we're going to move on to our next tool, which we're going to use to do some automated editing. So we can put this all together and do tons and tons of videos at once. And you're going to see here, I'm going to be able to generate 50 videos with just a little bit of tweaking and adjusting. All right? So now we're at canva.com. You can either just click the link in the description to go ahead and end up here, or go to canva.com in your browser, and you want to go ahead and sign up for an account, a free account. And then, when you've signed up or you've logged in, you will see this screen. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to click the search bar in the middle here and type in YouTube Shorts. We're going to select the YouTube Shorts template here, and then we are going to go ahead and select Create Blank Template. And this is going to go ahead and give us a brand new template ready to use, and we're going to be doing a handful of things to get this template ready to then start the automated video creation side. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a background video. We're going to add some text placeholders for our topic, our part 1 text and our part 2 text. And then we are going to import all of our data. So first step, let's add a video background here. So we're going to click on Apps in the bottom left here, and then we're going to scroll down a little bit until you see Videos here. You can also go ahead and search this in the search bar here, but when you find it, let's click Videos. And here in the search bar, we are going to go ahead and type something like beach or sunset, or any of those types of things. We want something that has kind of an ambient nature, just like what you saw in the example. So let's do sunset. And we just want to choose any of these videos here. As you can see, there's ones that have this little crown on them. When we go to the actual bulk creation, you will need to set up a free trial. And you can actually go ahead and set up the free trial and then immediately cancel. And you'll still be able to use it. So that is what I would recommend. But that's why I see a bunch of these with these little crowns. If you don't have your free trial activated yet, you may not see any of those. You'll just see ones like this that don't have anything beside it. That means they're free to use. And this actually is the one that I would probably recommend. Maybe this one, but I think this one is actually exactly what we're after in terms of an ambient background that's not going to interfere with the text or attract too much attention. So what we're going to do is when you find the video you like, we're going to click on it and we're going to drag it to the edge of your little editor window here. This is going to make it look just like what you're seeing now, where it's attempting to put it as the entire background of your editing window, which is exactly what we want. So if I let go of my mouse cursor here, you can see it's applied as a background video, and so now we just need to clean this up so it's ready to start putting text on it. And to do that, we are going to make this much shorter, because 1 minute is way too long. We only really need a 5 to 6 second total video, and we're also going to make sure that any additional background noise or background music that's already applied to this video is not carried forward. So to shorten it up, we'll click the little cut icon here, and we're going to drag this all the way down to 6. I think that's more than enough of a length here. If you don't quite get it, that's fine. You can also just type in 6 seconds here. So I'm just going to get rid of that, and we'll hit done. And now we have a 6-second video down from a 60-second video. The last thing we're going to do is get rid of any audio or noise in the background. So go ahead and click on the video. Click the volume icon, drag this all the way down, and you're good to go. Now we're going to go ahead and add our text before we go ahead and connect it up to our data to fully automate the creation part. So let's go to text. We're just going to drag in any of these text styles because we're going to add some adjusting to it. So this is our first piece of text, which is going to be the topic. So I'm just going to replace this text with the word topic. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag it up to the top here. This is about where I want it. And now I'm going to go ahead and style it. So to adjust that, I'm going to double-click. So I highlight everything. I'm going to click color at the top here, change it to white. And I'm also going to add a background, like you saw in the example. So we'll click Effects. We'll go to Background. And by default, it usually is black. But if not, click the color, select black, and we'll click out of that. And you can see we have our topic text basically ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and also change the font, though, because I think this one doesn't look as good as it could. I'm going to try this one that looks not too bad. I like that. So I'm going to use that font, but really, you can choose any font you want. There are tons and tons and tons to choose from. And if you're using the free trial, you can go ahead and upload your own fonts or search. And it does use the Google font library, so there are tons to choose from. So choose whatever you like, whatever you want for your style. And then, what we're going to do is we are going to click on this and duplicate. We're going to drag this down. And this is going to act as our Part 1 text. So I'll double-click in, and I'm going to replace the text here with just Part 1, just so we identify what's what. And I am also going to get rid of the background. So if I click on this element here, the text, I'll click Effect. I'm going to get rid of the background, so just click None for style. But I am going to add an outline, because as you can see here, it's already hard to read with just the background that's going on. So I'll click Outline. I'm going to use color black, and I'm going to increase the thickness here to about 80. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 85. Leave it as 86. I can get 85, and as you can see, much easier to read already, so that's what we want for the text there. Now there is a Part 2, and what we're actually going to do is click on Part 1, the text here, and click Duplicate, and we're just going to drag it down. We do want it to eventually show in the same place where Part 1 is going to be. But if you go ahead and just leave it there, it's going to be really hard to connect the data. So that way we can have this automate. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. But there's one last thing that we want to do for both of these sets of text, because they might be very long. Whereas the topic is typically short, it's 2 words. The text in Part 1 and Part 2 can get long, depends on what ChatGPT gave us. So what we're going to do is the edge of each of these purple boxes for Part 1, text, and Part 2, text. Let me actually change that to Part 2. So that way, we know what it is. We're going to click and drag from these edges and have them line up to this other purple outline that gives us kind of a box around the entire video. And that way, when text is put in, it's going to go up to these lines, but not beyond it. And it's going to start going into line 2, line 3, line 4, and so on. And that way, we don't have text that just spills over the edge of the video and becomes unreadable to the edge, and get this one to the edge. There we go. So now our template is almost ready to connect our data. One last thing we don't want: both of these sets of text to show at the same time, right? It's part one, whatever the hook is; part two, whatever the punchline is. So we want to adjust the timing of when these shows so they don't overlap. So to do that, we're going to right-click on part one, and we are going to click Show Timing. This is going to give us a little timeline view at the bottom here, where we can click on the edge and drag this around to decide where to show the first part of text and when to show the second part of text. And for a 6-second video, I normally like to have most of the video showing the first part, and then a shorter amount of the video showing the second part. So that way, in a case it's a long explanation, they potentially have to watch the video twice in order to get the full fact that way. It just allows you to get a higher overall retention, higher overall watch rate, and as a result, your videos can reach more people. So for part one, we'll leave it at 3.5 seconds. You can change this to 4 or 5 seconds. It's up to you, but I think 3.5 is good, and we're going to do the same for part two. So if I click on part two, you can see we still get the timing here. I'm going to change this to show up at 3.5 seconds in. So when we have it'll be 2.5 seconds left. Is that right? Yep. So there we go. So part one is going to show, and it's going to cut here, and then part two will show, and we just hit play. You'll see that, or you should see that. Click Show Timing again. Yep, that is applied. I'm not sure why they're not actually showing differently there, but it's all right. It'll show when we actually go ahead and apply text to it, I believe. Now we want to go ahead and start connecting all of our text now. To do that, we're going to use a tool in Canva called Bulk Create. So to access that, we click Apps in the bottom left, and you can see it here, right? Where you found videos, Bulk Create. If you can't find it, use the search bar, and when you go ahead and click on it, it's going to ask you to enter in all of your data. Now that's why we asked ChatGPT to give us text in a table format, so that way we can copy and paste this in. And it knows this is one set of text, to connect to second set of text, to connect to third set of text, to connect to. So let's go ahead and copy this. And we will go into ChatGPT here and click Enter Data manually. And then what we're going to do is click the first column here in the top left, and we are just going to paste in all of our text. And there we go. It's already formatted. It knows that these are topics. These are part ones. These are part twos. Let's click Done. And now it's going to ask you to connect this up to particular elements on your editor, so it knows where to display that information. So topic. Let's click on Topic here. Connect Data. Topic. You can see it got squiggly lines around it. That means it's been connected up. Let's do the same for part one, and the same for part two. And now that this is connected, which is where the squiggly lines come in, I'm going to drag part two back over top of part one, because that's where we want both sets of text to show. We just want them to show one for 3.5 seconds, then the other for the last 2.5 seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit Continue, and then when we hit Generate here, it's going to generate all 49 videos. I'm not sure why it's 49, versus we asked it for 50. But we ended up with 49. Nonetheless, so we're going to go ahead and click Generate, and it's going to create each of these videos. So I'll go ahead and hit that now, and here are our 49 videos. If I hit play, you can see shows. The first part, then the second part, next one, first part, and then the second part. And that goes for all of these. And so now, if I'm ready to export these, I want to go ahead and upload them to YouTube. I just hit save, or sorry, share, and I click download. And you want to make sure you select this download pages as separate files. That's going to give you 49 separate videos ready to go. And we've done all of that with AI and a little bit of automation to make it all happen. And you just have to repeat this as many times as you need to get thousands of videos out the door and ready to go for your AI YouTube automation channel. So that's all there is to generating thousands of YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and TikToks using AI as well as a little bit of automation. You don't need a professional video editor or tons of skills to make this work. And if you'd like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you're new, so that way we'll keep making more videos just like this foreign.